Snorted a shot of tequila. Gold, man. Bravo, baby.
Yeah.
Basically, I quit my job because it got in the way of partying. They were wearing spandex and had their hair all spiked up real big, looked like they just fell off the Sunset Strip, you know? I mean, I started a long time ago. My influences were all family members, pretty much. You know, my uncles all play guitar. My Uncle Mel is like a Chet Atkins guru. He fingerstyle, amazing. Family friends. My dad had a friend, Bob Burgett, lived down in Liverpool, and he played bluegrass. And it was just amazing to me. We'd sit down there and everybody'd be drinking beer, and we'd have a fish fry, and carry on, and just the musicianship was just crazy. Flat picking acoustic guitar, and then he'd break out a fiddle, mandolin, banjo, anything. Hand the guy anything, he would play. So he taught me my first chords, you know, and you know, from there, just watching everybody else play, you know, coming up. My uncle had a old Gibson Les Paul Jr. I remember him playing that late at night, and I can still remember the jewel on the amplifier glowing in the dark, and listening to that, and it was like, I mean, there's a picture of me, and I've sent it to you, and I'm sure we'll see it, of me, like 1-year-old, sitting on a toy tractor with an acoustic guitar and a big farmer hat, and it's like 1969 is the year, you know, and it's like, you know, rocking out in the backyard, 1969, you know, it's like my Woodstock moment. So I've always been attracted to music in general. I have no eye-hand coordination at all. See, so it's like I couldn't hit you with a ball from here. You'd be safe, you just laugh. So I tried Little League, all this kind of stuff, you know. No, I never took. You know, I was the guy that they passed on to another team, you know, when the other guys were short. So anyway,
I never got picked.
Going on with that, yeah, I sucked at all this stuff. But, and I kept wanting to learn how to play guitar. I wanted to take guitar lessons. Dad, no, we're not wasting more money on stuff you just don't. So I bought my first guitar from Todd Smith. My first electric guitar. I always had an acoustic guitar, and I wanted to take lessons. We're not wasting money on that. Times are tight. That's coal miner, you know. Mom stayed home for a while. At least she was a nurse, but she stayed home. Anyway, Todd Smith moved here from Lewiston. New kid in town. Oh, I got a whole bunch of guitars. I'm thinking bullshit. Go over to his house. Sure as shit. There, he's got like 2 or 3 different electric guitars. I bought my first electric guitar off of him for $5. $5.
And what year was that?
That was 1978, 78 or 79. My parents took $25 and got it fixed, put new tuners on it, and got a wiring short fixed in it. And I saved up my money and bought a little 8-inch speaker amplifier, a little K amplifier with one knob, chipboard, you know. And I'll get to the question eventually. You know, ask who are these musicians? But you know, Todd started me off on music, believe it or not. You know, because you know, Todd's a hell of a songwriter, just a lyricist from hell. And one of my first rock bands, he was the singer of. You know, there were school dances and they had bands, and it was like I had already started taking guitar lessons and I started learning some stuff, and could play a little bit, but you know, I learned that if I cranked that little bitty amp that I had all the way up, that the speaker would distort and it would sound like AC/DC. So that was my whole thing right there. Anyway, we went to, I'm getting ahead of myself, but anyway, we went to a high school dance, and the band Avalon was playing. It was Rick Henderson, Steve Millicent, Wayne Dowfield, Jamie Jenkins on bass, and Brad Mason on the drums. I still remember it, man. And those guys were playing like Paranoid, and they were playing like Purple Haze, and just they're tearing it up. They beat the shit out of the place. They were the shit. And who's cooler than Steve Millicent? Nobody. Still to this day, you walk up and it's like, zip your jacket up a little bit because it got a little bit cooler. You know? So yeah, he was always my hero, man. Once I graduated high school and stuff like that, it got more professional. You know, there were more bar gigs and stuff like that, and less backyard. We're on a hay rack, you know, which were great gigs. You know, they were back when the drum heads were mostly duct tape. You know, there's like cut off broomsticks, you know, or they're black electrical tape around them. And, hold on for a second, stall them. I gotta wrap my head, you know. My drum pedal broke, you know. Right. All those. We're playing and it's 30 degrees out, you know. You got some plate of something here, you know, it's hot in the dark. Anyway, but yeah, we moved on from that, and I went on to actual like real gigs, you know, in bars. And I got in with a band called the Zephyr Group, and that was with Kenny Huggins and Ed Franciscovich and Jamie Jenkins on bass, and Eddie Kelson was the drummer, and that's how I got in. Eddie brought me up. They needed a guitar player because it was like John Davis, I think, was their original guitar player. Great guitar player. Passed away. But him and Charlie, I used to play with him and his brother back in high school. Killer dudes, man. Anyway, we used to play over at a place called the Rainbow Riders Saloon over in Macomb. There's a Tom's Cafe on the square, you know, in Macomb. Yeah. Down in the basement was the Rainbow Riders Saloon. And they paid us $150 a night to come in there and play. I think most bars are still playing about $150 a night. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, anyway. Yeah, so things haven't changed.
Yeah, right. It's still...
So, yeah, $150 a night and free beer. And so, you know, the more we drank, the more we made. We'd go out from there to play in the Motel Siesta Lounge. You know? Well, if you didn't have a knife, they gave you one when you came in. You know? Stuff like that. Little hole-in-the-wall places they're sadly gone, you know? But great memories. You could go in there and play Suffragette City or something and slam it out. And everybody, I mean, the dance floor was full. Sweaty, hot, beer drinking. Damn it. How do you not love that?
Yeah. Cloud of smoke,
you know,
slow.
Yeah, thick. The lights look cool, you know? It was awesome. Yeah, everybody smoked indoors then, man. That was the thing.
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
So, damn. What good times, though, you know?
Right. Oh, yeah.
And it was all $150, $175, but, you know, we didn't give a shit, man. Really, you know, it was, yeah. You know, I started growing my hair out because I had hair, you know? So I was kind of growing it out, and I didn't want to get a regular job, so anything was better than, you know, flipping burgers or something, you know? You know, my $30 that night was reasonable. It's like, you know, minimum wage was like $3.35 an hour, so it's like 10 hours at McDonald's, you know? And I got drunk for free, you know? Got to hang out with women and stuff. And my little buddy Ryan, man, had come over, and I was corrupting him and teaching him how to do terrible things. And, you know, really scarring the poor boy, you know, who had a chance to be somebody. But he did actually go on and do nice stuff. But we're sitting there at the table, and Eddie had called me again. I'm like, no, man. And that, you know, he's like, why don't you go down there and jam with those guys? And I'm, no, man, why break up a band and start a new one? So eventually I gave in. I went down and I jammed with them. But the reason I did it, I went in and we played, and Darren was like, had the keyboard and was like, yeah, we're doing an autograph, man. you know, I need you to play this on the keys. And I don't know how to play keys at the time. It was like, you know. So we get through and they're like, yeah, man, that was great. You were smoking. We want you in the band. And I'm like, no, fuck you. I'm out. And then they're like, what? I said, you know, man, I would rather be friends with you guys than be in a band with you, you know? Really. And I blew him a bunch of shit, tried to be all philosophical for, you know, the dipshit that I was at the time, you know? You feel a lot cooler at the time. Later on, it's like, okay. But anyway, we're back at the table, and Ryan's like, how did it go, man? And I said, nah, I told him to fuck off. I'm not doing this. And well, I break up one band, then I kind of come down and audition for the same dudes. You know, really? This is dumb. I just don't want to do it. I want to do something different. And that's when I went on to Gypsy with Sean and all those guys. Well, Ryan's like, well, what would you think if I went down and auditioned? And it was like, I mean, I want to be encouraging. Because Ryan, but he was a punk-ass kid. He really was. And these guys were already doing bars and, you know, terrible, mean, nasty things. And it's like, I said, yeah, okay. I really didn't think he had the chops to do it. I mean, he was good, but raw. You know, he had another year, you know, and he'd been killing. Because he used to come to practice with Redline. I remember when I first got my Marshall half stack, the first Marshall in Fulton County or something, you know, the first one he'd ever seen, you know, and he comes over and he's like, can I play through your Marshall? And he'd always been hanging around in practice, and I was like, no, man, you know, nah, whatever, kid, I don't want you playing my guitar. So anyway, that day I was like, go on ahead. I handed him my guitar, and he like just shreds ass on it, man, and like makes me look dumb in front of everybody, playing like Vivian Campbell stuff and Dio and rocking out. Anyway, Ryan, going on back to it, Ryan ended up going over and auditioning for that band, and there was came over there trying to get a band name, and he's like, what's that book on your table there, man? I said, this? Oh, it's my sister's, man, from school. She's reading it for school, Charlotte's Web. He's like, that's kind of cool. I said, what, the book? Yeah. Yeah, Charlotte's Web, that's kind of cool. And then they turned their band into Charlotte's Web. And I went on and joined Gypsy and started that, and we were trying to battle them. But it didn't work. They won. They were better. It was night and day, man. Charlotte's Web was not Redline. They were wearing spandex and had their hair all spiked up real big and looked like they just fell off the Sunset Strip, you know? I mean, they were L.A. and Canton. And playing stuff nobody'd ever even heard. Bullet Boys? What's the hell is that? What's that? Man in the Box? Never heard that? Nobody heard Man in the Box, you know, for another year after Charlotte's Web has already beaten it up in every bar in the county, you know? Jim Mooney, the singer for Charlotte's Web, had a cousin or somebody that lived out in L.A. So his cousin would send him cassette tapes with these new unsigned bands, these up-and-coming things, and they'd learn those songs. So they were fresh and, you know, it was something new. They weren't just guys up there, you know, oh, living on Tulsa time, you know. Not that that's a bad tune, but I'm just saying, nobody had ever seen anything like that. Remember, they decided to part ways with Darren and asked me if I would join the band. And at that time, I didn't have anything going on. Me and Wes and myself were trying to start a band. We didn't have a drummer. I was like, hey, would you guys mind if I went on ahead and take this gig just to get some cash and get out? And those guys were like, nah, man, we're not going to do anything for a while. Go on ahead. So I joined up with Charlotte's Web, and the deal was I had to wear spandex. If you're going to be in the band, you're going to look like the rest of us, and you're going to wear the same clothes that we do. It's a look, it's an image, it's part of the show. It's it. So if you want to be in the band, you're going to have to do that. Fine. You know? So Jim throws me a pair of his spandex, and Eddie's got a pair. Here, you can have these too. I don't wear these very often. I remember the first time I walked out of the bathroom at home, getting ready to go to the gig. My dad's sitting there at the kitchen table, drinking some Black Velvet, listening to some George Jones or something. And they come out, and I've like got my hair all aqua netted, standing up, and a ripped up Jane's Addiction t-shirt, and like some blue leopard spot spandex tucked down into my white Nikes, and some like leather fringe thing that went over my area here, and belts. You had to have belts too, man. Bracelets, necklaces, and stuff like this. And you couldn't have sleeves in your shirts. I had to cut the sleeves out and cut around here. Well, you know, my farmer tan's all sticking out and everything because I'm a dork and not a rock star, you know. So we went and played Purple Pride over in Macomb. I'm not dating myself at all. I'm sure everybody's still playing the Pride tonight. But anyway, we went there, and I pulled a Warren Zevon and ended up picking up a waitress at the end of the night. Rat on myself here, which was such a milestone in my life because I couldn't even talk to girls yet. I was so bashful. But when you're a musician, it's true. They actually do want to talk to you and know you. So
You're cool.
a new era of my life began that night. You know, the waitress had her thing, but still, you know, all of Charlotte's Web was kind of a highlight. You know, it was, everything took off from there. It was a different life. Basically, I quit my job because it got in the way of partying. Because we had a band house, we all lived together, man. And me and Eddie at least lived together. And some other people hung out. But we had keggers like every night, man. And the band practiced out in the garage. And it was just in and out. And I didn't have a job for 5 years. After that point, I quit my job at the pharmacy, man. I was a delivery boy, which was neat, you know, because I would go and be like rocking out with various waitresses, you know, and partying and melting face and doing back-to-back guitar solos with Ryan. And we were rock stars in our spandex and stuff's blowing up and we're rocking out and it's great. And then I would go deliver medicine to some old lady and she'd give me a cookie for a tip. I'd be like, thank you, ma'am. Go get in the car, you know, and then it's debauchery and we're like land pirates, you know, for the weekend, you know. And it was just the whole double life thing and then something had to give, you know, so it was the job. You know. So we just lived on the road. We played 4 or 5 nights a week though. You could back then. You know, there were all kinds of bars and stuff, you know. Swanee's in Macomb was a big one, man. We played down at a lot of small towns, you know, it's Fulton County, you know, but we played down like Table Grove and stuff like that. We played in Bushnell, we played, you know, wherever we could. In Canton, obviously, at the Brewing Queue was always it. And we had a great time, man. We really did. And there was a time Bunky left the band, man. And unfortunately, it happened to be right before a gig. And it was like, okay, what the hell are we going to do, you know? And we're set up at the Suburban in Canton, and we had his bass rig and his bass. He ended up chasing a girl someplace or whatever. There's always a girl involved in those stories. But anyway, love you, Bunk. But I ended up saying, okay, well, we had to play. And instead of me and Ryan just both playing guitar and pretending, humming bass lines into a microphone or something, it was like, all right, I'm playing Bunky's bass, man. It makes sense. I was new to the band anyway, you know, so it was like Ryan knew all the guitar parts, and I was still at that time kind of guessing on some of them. But it was all right. I was backing up Ryan and just kind of chug, 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 you know. So I just did that on the bass, and then it turned out that Bunky didn't come back. And it's like for the next year, all of a sudden I was the bass player for Charlotte's Web. So I'd replace Darren Thompson and Bunky Walker.
Wow.
So there you go. How many other people replaced 2 people on Charlotte's Web?
On 2 different instruments.
2 different instruments, right. And you know, a neat story on that. One night, it was about a year into it, we were having a party over at the house, and Sean Barkley shows up. And he'd always wanted to be a guitar player or a singer or anything but a bass player. He didn't want to play bass. Anyway, he corners me at the party, and he's like, you know, Scott, you've inspired me. And I'm like, what's that, Sean? And he's like, I'm going to start playing bass. I'm like, you're shitting me. You never wanted to. And he's like, you know, you're so much better on me on guitar. And if you would give up guitar to play bass, then why shouldn't I? You know, I need a bass player, so I'm going to do it. So he started playing bass with this guy, Greg Trevitt. And then they became Mudvayne. So in a roundabout way, I inspired the band Mudvayne to become a thing.
Yes.
Bam!
Good times, man. And then, you know, I got the axe. Yeah, I got fired. There was a band meeting. All of a sudden, I got fired. So I was like, I actually cried over that band. Me and Mike Nichols riding around out in the country, man. I'm like bawling, oh, I remember the band, you know? Okay, sorry, it'll be okay. Like the next day I get a phone call from Wes Simmons. And he's like, yeah, I heard you're not in Charlotte's Web anymore. No, those bunkers. You know, he's like, fuck it, man, come on down. I got something, I'm getting started down here in Lewiston, man. Me and a couple of guys are getting together, and you should come down and bring your guitar. We'll get some jamming. So we went down and we started jamming down in the basement of I think it was a drugstore down in Havana. Me back on guitar.
Wasn't it gaming?
There was gaming there too. It was, I'm not sure
a
what
video
it was.
game or something like
Video
arcade.
game thing upstairs, arcade, and then there was something else with it. But from the mists of time, it's all coming back to me. But that one, there was a skinny one that came into the picture. You know. Man of legend, Kenny P. Right. We needed a singer. We needed another guitar player too, because I was pretty rusty, man. After playing bass for a year, it happens, you know. So anyway, I always loved bass, but still, I digress. Yeah. So it was like, hey, I got this chill down my spine. It was like, you know what? We played a gig over in Macomb one time back in the web. And no, it wasn't Macomb, it was Keokuk, Iowa. We played at the Double Deuce in Keokuk. And Ryan got up and sang. Just sang. I had like a couple of other musicians come up. I bounce around a lot. I'm sorry. But we had some local musicians that were from Keokuk got up and played. And Ryan sang. And we played Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. And Ryan sang the studio version off the album. Like note for note, no voice cracks or anything. And he was like jumping around in his spandex, and he looked like a young Sammy Hagar or something like that. But no, just we ripped the damn house down, and it was like my jaw on the floor looking at Ryan. And I remembered it when we were jamming with Wes. It was like, we need a singer. I wondered if Ryan would be interested, man. So I kind of planted a little seed there, and you fired me from Charlotte's Web, so I'll just steal Ryan Rose. Well, that worked out good, right? How's that, guys? There you go. All right. So we started a band called Max Out. Yeah, man. But we hammered it. We took it serious, and it was like when we weren't playing gigs, we were practicing, man. That band practiced 2-3 days a week. You know, we were lucky. Mark Flynn let us use his warehouse. We rented an entire warehouse for $50 a month, like an industrial warehouse, dude. We had like keggers in there and stuff. You know, played frisbee in the back. You know, we lived there. You know, set up the full PA. We had like the entire PA for practices and stuff. Dropped acid. We had my hippie birthday there. We like locked ourselves in. You know. Allegedly, you know, right? Oh yeah, we whooped it up, man. But it was serious business, you know. We did our first promotional video. Mike Nichols, friend of mine, Mike J. Nichols, who just did the Zappa movie. That's my hero. But yeah, he did our first promo videos and stuff on camcorder, you know, and tried to splice all that stuff together. And he was using like early computer programs to do animation of like our logo, like fluttering, and then it all comes together and pops up. Max Havoc, you know. But we were killing it, man. We were coming out and we were doing stuff that nobody else was doing. We were playing Skid Row and Slaughter and Queensryche and stuff like that. Megadeth. You know, we decided not to play Metallica. We played Megadeth. You know, it just bashed it out and did like a Zeppelin medley, and we were doing Whitesnake and stuff like that. Still of the Night, thumping it down, man. You know? Tesla. Oh yeah, all of it. Because Ryan could sing all that stuff, man. We were doing Sammy Hagar and stuff. We were doing Boston. We did rock and roll band, man. Come on, it was rock and roll band. You know, I'm not saying we did it great, but my God, we did it every night. So yeah, Max Havoc. You know, great band, but as you know, as all bands go, you know, karma comes back around. I stole Ryan Rose away from Charlotte's Web, and Charlotte's Web died, and Bob Moulton stole Ryan Rose away from me, and Max Havoc died. So there you go. So I had to break down and like get a job and stuff like that, because I had a house and all this kind of, I was trying to be a grown up and playing house and doing all this. And the band broke up, you know, so I'm working and all this. And Wes comes over, man. We're down in the basement, and he's like, "Hey, man, I've been working on some songs." It's like, cool, man. You know, Wes and I always did play acoustics together and stuff, and write music. And writing music is one of my greatest passions, man. It really is. The covers are fun. You know, you go out and you play the bars, and you get to be a hero on the weekend and all of that. You know, had I actually known how to become a rock star, I've got a pretty good idea how to do it now that I'm old and can't, you know, and the scene doesn't exist anymore, and there aren't record deals, and, you know, people don't pay for music anymore, you know. But, you know, had I done it, and none of these stories would have happened, you know. I wouldn't have been here. I would have taken off for LA straight out of high school, man, and at least beat my brains out there and partied myself to death on the strip where it was happening, you know. Nobody comes to Canton to find you guys. They really don't, you know, or Peoria or anything. Yeah, well, Dan Fogelberg, you know, I talked about Mudvayne earlier. Yeah, okay. Well, Peoria's been here a long time. That's two, you know. Sim Coonson, different thing, you know. He didn't make it playing bars in Peoria. Right. None of them did. You got to go where the music is and where the action's at. So none of that would have happened. But anyway, you know, I digress again because it's what I do. We were writing music. So Wes would come over, man, and we started writing. Because we wanted to go on. I wanted to actually be a rock star, so let's write an album. And we started a little project down there, writing, just me and him, which became a band called Bogart Jones. And we wrote songs called, one called Hell Over the Highway, Slightly Burnt, Still Smoking, a song called Unstoned we wrote down there in the basement, a song about me and my girlfriend broke up, man, and the song is about me. It's called Shuffle On. That's a big one. You know, that's about my life. I just held the door. I can show you that door when I hop in the car. You know, I lived that. So we started that, and I ended up losing that house, man, and moving in with Wes down in his basement. And that's where all those songs started taking shape. Jeremy Rogers joined, and Chris Brees on bass, and both just phenomenal musicians, man. You know that if you're from here, you know. But great players, man, and I learned a lot playing with them. And we did it for quite a while. We wrote a whole album, did a few gigs. I mean, it's always playing for free with stuff like that, benefits and all that. And it was great, but the whole time I was getting older too, man. And I was still living in Wes's basement. And it's like I was cleaning floors at night, you know, that was my gig. And it's like I got a job with the school district, you know, during the day. So I was like working during the day, and then I would go home after work at 3:30, and I would go to sleep for a couple hours, and then I'd go do thirds and clean floors in Peoria and like Walgreens and stuff like this. And I'd come home and I'd sleep for a couple hours, and I'd get up and I'd go and work for the school and start trying to build a life, man. Well, I started liking working for the school, so I said I wanted to become a school teacher. So I went back to that. I remember I was sitting at the stoplights on Locust Street. I was like 27 years old, man, and I had done nothing with my life. I quit Bogart Jones because I had to do something, you know. I didn't like the direction it was going, blah, 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 drama, roma, whatever. I wanted to simplify, Wes wanted to complicate. Wes won. Look at that, man. You know, you got a big old band and they're smoking ass. Great band, all of my friends. So, yeah, but I was in Bogart Jones there for a while, and then I left that. I went on to school, and I quit music for probably 3-4 years. One day, I went and I did a surprise gig with Bogart Jones. I got to talking to Wes, and it was like, hey, now I feel like playing again. He's like, grab a guitar and come on down. Well, Mark Chatterton was in the band at the time, and it was like who's who of everybody rocking, and Matt Lowe was on keys, you know, and it was this big soup of music, and it was great, you know. Matt Lowe was one of the most talented people that ever played an instrument. And then his brother came back from college. His brother, Jason Lowe, was going to school to be a doctor. Well, he was on break. He's living out in Colorado. He comes back and he brings his horn. And he sets in and starts jamming with us down. We're playing under some pavilion down in Lewiston or whatever. I don't even remember where the place was. But we hung out that night and partied a bit, you know, and it was like, you know, I got to know Jason a little bit more. I used to work with their dad at the pharmacy I was a delivery boy for back in Charlotte's Web. And they were his kids, you know. He'd bring these kids in, and I'm like looking at him. I'm a 21-year-old practicing alcoholic, trying to be, you know. I was working on it. But anyway, you know, nobody wants your young children around, you know. Ryan Rose. Anyway, so, you know, years pass, and I'm walking through JCPenney's with the lovely Mrs. Stockman, and we're looking at button-up shirts for my school job, you know. You know, all short-haired and clean-cut now, and oh, I wear sweaters now, like tonight, and because all the rock stars do. Anyway, James Hetfield is wearing a sweater somewhere right now.
There's got to be a picture
Flea
on the
has
internet.
got to be. So, anyway, I'm walking through there, and here comes Jason Lowe. You're back. He graduated. He's a full-fledged doctor, man. Instead of taking the multiple jobs that he was offered all over the country at big-name hospitals, man. Talking Johns Hopkins, you know, Cedars-Sinai, places like this that are just like, wow, blows him off, man. Wants to come back to Canton, set up a family practice, man. Small-town doctor, raise a family. Do all that. Hey, man, I'm thinking about starting up a jam if you want to come over and play some night. I'm like, dude, that'd be awesome, you know. So I had just bought my first Fender Stratocaster. So I thought this would be the perfect time to take a brand new axe with a whole new flavor, whole new style, away from heavy metal and all the headbanging stuff. Because I got a taste of a different direction with Bogart. It was an amazing band. So I go over to Jason's house and we play just nonstop, like Pink Floyd, just improv to where it's crazy. It's, what was the Welcome to the Machine, stuff like that. You know, we're playing Us and Them, Breathe, Brain Damage, all of this, you know. Wow, you know, Wish You Were Here, Comfortably Numb. All this. So we decided we're going to start a Pink Floyd tribute band. All right. Well, he plays keys and plays sax and guitar, and Matt, his brother, and all these people start coming over and showing up. So they used to have a band called Low Profile back in the day, and it was just a duet. It was Jason and Matt. They played the little clubs like Champs on Main over in Peoria and stuff. So anyway, I was the first non-Lowe brother to be an official Lowe brother. I even got a hat with LP on it from Jason because I was the first one non-relative to join the band. So we started the band Low Profile. But yeah, you know, Low Profile was, like I said, probably the best band I've ever been in. You know, we played all the songs I always loved. You know, I played Sultans of Swing more times than Mark Knopfler did with Dire Straits. You know, now that one follows me around everywhere we go. You know, but there was a level of musicianship there where I was the worst player in the room, and that's something that I advise you to look for. Try to be the worst one in the band because it forces you to try to become a better player. And we should all be trying to grow, you know, and Low Profile was all about that, really. And just dear friends. It's like the camaraderie there. There were no egos amongst us. Everybody was the same at the table, you know. It was great times, and it was the longest band I was ever into. We played together for almost 16 years. Yeah, almost. Last summer was the last gig. So that was 15 years. It's pretty crazy, man, you know? And the whole time we had the same set. So there you go.
Yeah, trying to perfect it.
Right. Well, we did write a lot of music and stuff like that, and it was really odd. We had the revolving bass player thing here. We had almost a Spinal Tap-ish kind of bass player situation. We started off Chris Brees on bass, you know, legend, you know, great dude, great singer, great player. Things happened, and he moved on, you know, and even Wes Simmons came over and played one time, and Adam Kimbrell, another bass player from Farmington, great player. He was the original bass player for us, actually, before Chris. Then after Wes decided it wasn't his thing, he was more wanting to play bars and stuff, and we really didn't have a set list for bars. We were more an event kind of thing. That's when, what was that one kid? Ryan Rhodes came and played bass. And Ryan was in the band, I believe, when I ended up getting sick. I ended up having this is one where the sad music comes in. That's when I was behind the music. That's when I was diagnosed with the chronic lymphocytic leukemia, man. Stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So that was a big fight that I had to go through there. And the band was there through the whole thing, man. I mean, I couldn't play after a while. I had to go to the hospital and had a bone marrow transplant up in Chicago at Northwestern. And when I was there, I'm getting these supportive messages, man, from the guys, you know, and we're putting on a benefit for you. And we got like all these bands are going to come and play and help you out. We got T-shirts and stuff, and you know, I still see people walking on the street with Scott Stockman benefit T-shirts on. It was awesome, you know. But I get a call from Patrick. He's like, this is when I'm home finally. He's like, when you're up in Chicago, you're going through all that, Scott. What songs did you listen to? What gave you hope? And I'm like, Lido Shuffle? You know? He's like, oh, okay. One Love for the Road. Lido? Yeah. Okay, so what, you know? I was coming home, you know? I got a call from Jason while I'm in the hospital. Hey, we got booked at the Sefcu stage. We're going to play the Riverfront. It's like, oh my God, I got to get better and get home. You know? Don't you freaking play without me, man. Because a good friend of mine, of ours, of everybody's, if you're a musician in there, Don Mabus, he was kind enough to fill in for me when I was sick. They had a couple of gigs I had to miss. So Don learned the set list and went and played with him. And my first gig back was at the riverfront, and him and our friend John Eason, who they had a band with Ryan as well. They opened up for us, and then we all got together and played Golden Slumbers medley and taking it to the streets and stuff. And John and Don joined us on stage for both of those songs. That was really just a great thing. It was kind of a homecoming. And then I was sick as a dog, man. And there's pictures of it. I'll include one of them. Me with my Cubs jersey on, you know. I was in a band full of Cardinals fans. So I wore a Cubs jersey, man. My first gig back just to piss them off. It's my 40th birthday. You know? It was awesome. But anyway, I'm sick as hell, man. I'm cramping up and stuff, and it was too soon for me to be out. And so I didn't play as well as what I could have probably. But it was one of those carrots you hold up to try to come back. And we came back to Canton and we played the Relay for Life, and that touched me a lot. Because there were a lot of survivors and stuff and people that were there. And, you know, we got to do that in front of the hometown crowd and play out at the stadium. We played Canton Stadium. We are the only band that I can remember ever playing before the fireworks. And Canton got hired by the city to come out. And we rocked ass, and then they fired off fireworks right over the top of us when we were the last notes. Freaking awesome, you know? It was an honor to do stuff like that, you know?
Local Kiss.
Local Kiss. There you go. Right? They're awesome. That was great. You know? We went through a lot of years and did a lot of stuff, and that's when I came back and I got back on my feet and started feeling better. I felt like doing something more, you know, giving something back. People raised $17,000 for me, man, on a one-day benefit. The bar had lost its liquor license. And the mayor wouldn't give like a one-day thing or anything. He was like, no way. He donated money, but he's like, no. So they raised $17,000 at a dry benefit for me with 9 bands. I couldn't go to it, man. I wanted to, but I was confined. I had to stay in the house for a year because of infection risk. And I had no immune system when I got home. I had no eyelashes when I got home. You know, it was horrible things, you know. There's things that you don't learn about watching TV, you know, about cancer. It's worse than all that shit that you...
I said that on Grey's Anatomy.
Right, yeah, they leave that out, right. So it doesn't go well over dinner. But, so I wanted to give something back, man. And I got back on my feet and I was healthy again. So I started a fundraiser, man. I know a lot of musicians. You know, I wasn't really played in some of the bigger bands around here, and I know all the other people that did. So I started making some phone calls, and I was like, hey man, I want to put on an all-day event in Canton. I want to raise money for pulled it out of my butt. St. Jude. It was like, what's this for? It's for St. Jude. Okay. Everybody does something for St. Jude. Well, you know what? St. Jude does something for everybody. It's an amazing organization, man. They give all their research freely to everybody. You know, they don't hold on to anything. There's like 150 doctors from every country on the planet that come there to work every day. And they put all their shit aside. And they come together for the betterment of children with cancer. It could be better than that. So, fortunate enough to talk to probably 10, 12 bands of the best bands around here. They all donated, man. Came and did a set. My friends came together, man, and rallied behind it. We called it Jamming for Jude. It was a big thing, man. And all together we raised a little over $75,000. We did it over 6 years. It took a little bit. It's very grassroots, man. That's all the best bands played, man. Everybody came through there. You never got turned down by anybody. And it was really a great thing. And it's nice to give back as well. Community is important, I think. Man. There you go. So, you know, I got to play at my own big benefit thing they were putting on, Jamming for Jude, you know. We did this all the time, and I got to meet a lot of the cool players, man. All the people from Boomstick, they played all of them. Love you guys. Thank you so much, everybody that ever came out. This is Scott from Jim for Jude. Thank you so much. But I got to play with Max Havoc. Our first year we did that. And the current band I was in at the time was Low Profile. I came back again and played it again with another band of musicians, a little bit of a Fulton County super group we kind of put together. I always wanted to do more original music. And, you know, it's hard to do. Jason and Matt Lowe are amazing musicians, but they're also amazing people. Jason's a gynecologist, for the love of God. He doesn't get to be home but maybe 5 minutes out of the year, you know, because he's delivering babies and helping people save lives. And Matt's an extremely successful architect in Chicago, you know. He and his wife both are architects, you know. They're very talented people and they're very busy, and they've got mountains of kids too. So we didn't have time to really put together a full original band. So I kind of wanted a little bit more. So it was more of a hodgepodge of players. Well, I'd run into Adam Stevens. He came. I remember Adam from years ago, man. Back he started at the pharmacy when I was still working there, way back then in the Charlotte's Web days, you know. And I knew him from school and stuff like that. He was always a cool kid, and we didn't hang out. We had different circles, but all right. So here he comes. He came to one of the volunteer meetings, and I got to talking to him. He was, oh yeah, I'm playing too. I play too. I was like, great, you know. So let's hear it. Now, when you're a musician, everybody comes up and says, oh, I play too. I'm really good. And it's like, oh hey, let me sit in with your band. Sure. And you hand them your guitar, and they're like, you know, oh God, you know, as Jimmy Rogers found out every time he invited me up to play. Anyway, so Adam wants to play. So, okay, all right. Dude smokes, man. He's amazing. He's got a beautiful voice, man. Sings from his heart and stuff, and I'm like floored. I'm like, how did I know you all these years and I had no idea? He's playing acoustic, man, and he's playing originals, stuff that he wrote. I'm like a turd standing here, cover guy, and he's like talking, oh Scott, you're like this fucking great. No, man, you're the real shit. I'm like a copy, you know? So I was game to get in and start doing some writing with him, man. So we started writing a little bit together. Mostly it was his songs, you know, but I was coming up with guitar parts and adding on, and we were building on them together. And it was like, you know, we really need a band. We need to start beefing this up a little bit and let's bring in some other players. Kept talking to Jason about coming over playing. Jason didn't want to play keys, but he would play sax. He said because he could come from the hospital and he could just carry his saxophone, you know, and it was just easier for him. So I wanted him to be part of it because Jason's an amazing songwriter and just a bottomless pit of talent. Who's better? You know, it's opinion at this point, you know. But Adam brings in Mitch Renner, who's a monster musician. You know, he's got a master's in composition from NYU, you know. He's like, you know, and the most humble guy in the world, you know, when he's not trekking across China or some shit like that. He's writing symphonies, you know. He doesn't need us, he's humoring us, you know. It's like, he really doesn't, you know. He can actually write this stuff, you know. There you go. And then with the technical proficiency as well for the gear and the recording stuff and all that, he's just a beast. Just a great dude, man. An honor to play with him too. I've been honored, and the players I've been with are all better, you know. I've grown because of them. Wes Simmons, once again, you want a bass player? Grab Wes Simmons, man. Songwriting motherfucker too. You know, right there. Brought him in. Wes was down. He dug what we were doing, man. He came in. He was really solid. He brought his buddy Ty, man, from Pink Sushi. Man, Ty Bailey. Come on, bringing these congas in. Who the hell's rocking congas around here? Nobody. I've never in my entire life seen another band with congas other than Ty. And he was killer. Personality plus, man, too. You know? Big old smile. Oh, hold on, man. We're going to get all Santana on you and shit. Wow. Yeah, Got some jam band stuff on here, man. It's great. You know. So, we're like, okay, we need a drummer. Kyle Boyd. Out of nowhere, I didn't even know Kyle. But this dude is like the perfect match. Ty brought him in. The perfect match. Good gears. So it was amazing. We had this super group, basically, of all the big songwriters. It was a dream for me to do this. We started writing some crazy good stuff, man. Crazy good stuff. And, you know, we ended up playing Jammin' for Jude as one of our gigs. You know, we did a couple of shows. We got to play Ellendorf Music Festival, man, which was a privilege to play Ellendorf Music Festival. That's one of the highlights of my life as a musician. Playing there, I played the Majesty Theater as well. That's another huge one. Played, you know, I got to wake up in the morning and hear my original song on the radio. Woke up to it. I've been really blessed, man, by music my whole life. And I've been away from it for a while, and I've been switching things around. And, you know, I'm jumping away from killing giants again here. You know, as we say, all good things come to an end, and it was short-lived, but wow, it was like creating the band Traffic in Fulton County. It really was. Think of Lowe Spark, High Heel Boys, or something like that, and that's the groove that we had. You know, Steve Winwood would have fit right in. But just amazing band. A lot of depth. But, you know, it burned real bright, it burned real fast. We're all still friends, and we all came out the other side, you know. And it takes me to where I am now, you know. I'm back with music again. Low Profile's done, all the bands are done, all smoke's cleared. It's like, Dad, you gotta start playing again, you know. You gotta start playing again. Well, maybe I will, but I picked up the bass again. You know, I like playing the bass guitar, and it's a natural fit, which has made me start playing my Strat again. You know, because I'm writing my own music now, and I've got a different outlook on music. It's been sold, man. I'm playing for me now, and I don't do gigs and I don't play. I don't, you know, fault anybody for doing it. Go get it, man. All my friends are out playing, you know? And I love them and respect them all.
Caroline said, I've been against just a very few. Was on to put my heart out there. I just don't care quite like I used to.